versus Leeds Chariots. Delighted to be joined on commentary by David D. David, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks Ryan. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. So a huge thank you to any and everyone either here in the Derby Arena or tuning in from home. We apologise for the slight delay and any technical difficulties, but we are very much underway now. So to go through the squads of these two, as Lewis Harris is going to have an attempt for Leeds Chariots. Starting with the designated home team, they have Matthew Hadfield as the designated goalkeeper in bright yellow, the number 5. In front of him, he'll have the pair of Sam and Adam Langley, number 3 and number 4 respectively. And then the typical high and wide winger, number 17, Kieran Wade. Leeds Chariots currently second in the Optegra Premiership. Strong favourites for this one. Have Jack Britton adorning the green goalkeeper jersey. He's number 7. Very fluid system adopted by Leeds Chariots. Lewis Harris currently in the centre, number 5. Dan Rigby making his way to the left-hand side of the court. And on the far side, Jack Maxwell. Give me your thoughts on this one, David.
It's going to be a tough match for Nottingham Forest. I think they're a very defensive side in the Premiership, and their aim to really be to hold out as long as possible, keep it 0-0 for as long as possible. And I think if they can do that, and if they can keep the score level, I think they'll grow into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that was previewed in a podcast on Friday between myself and Alex Dowding, and we've said exactly that. The longer this can remain goalless, the more it plays into Nottinghamshire's hands, as we have a slight break due to that high ball ricocheting into the side of Matt Hadfield. So Nottinghamshire, one of the most experienced teams in the Cup, and a club with deep roots within it. Their league form this season has been challenging, sitting 10th in the Optegra Premiership with just 2 wins from 18. But as is so often the case, league form can mean very little when it comes to cup football. And Nottinghamshire are no stranger to the unpredictability and the opportunity that this competition affords. Did you know they hold the largest cup win, David? 22-0 back in 2016 over Darlington PFC.
That is actually insane. That is one heck of a cup win, and you know what? They might need to almost bring that old self back alive again, to try and maybe not try and score, but maybe not try to not concede.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. When we look at Leeds Chariots, they've been formidable. They're bringing momentum, they're bringing confidence. League form absolutely superb. 14 wins from their 18 games, just 3 losses, and the only team that has really troubled any and all opposition they've faced this season. They've just got an attacking identity this season, and for that there's no better place to look than the duo of Dan Rigby and Jack Maxwell. Dan Rigby, the league's leading assist provider, 23, and he's got that connection with Jack Maxwell, who's the leading goal scorer with 21. So for me, David, and I'm sure you agree, the job predominantly of Adam and Sam Langley is to stop them passing lanes between Dan and Jack, and if they can do that, I think they'll have success.
Yeah, if they break that connection, I mean, that is the most vital connection in the squad. That is the string that keeps that keeps our game flowing, and I think if they can halt that flow, if they can break that string almost, I think they'll be in for hopefully a very good game, and hopefully they can frustrate them.
Yeah, I hope so. They had a little bit of success in the Leeds Chariots half there, but Jack Maxwell ventures to the left-hand side. Dan Rigby trying to force the ball over to Lewis Harris. We spotlight Jack Maxwell and Dan Rigby for how prolific they are within the stats. Lewis Harris, arguably their standout player of the season, has featured as the standout player of a Premiership weekend on 2 occasions. So he will no doubt be in contention come end of season as Dan
That's a
Rigby.
big opportunity.
Exactly what we were
And
talking
it's
about.
gone in.
Exactly what we was talking about, David. You have to restrict the passing lanes between Dan Rigby and Jack Maxwell. It's been so effective in the Premiership, and you've seen exactly why on that occasion. They fire the ball from one side of the court to the other, and that's something we've seen time and time again this season.
It's just that distribution from Lewis Harris to get that goal, to get the pass through to Dan Rigby, who can just ease it off, ease it through to Jack Maxwell at the back post. It's just excellent football all round, all together, absolutely outstanding. Adam Langley to kick off again. Sorry, Sam Langley. Trying to get it up the pitch, trying to get it out of their defensive third. All they need to do is just try and recuperate, try and get that goal back. They might not score as many, but they just need to get that deficit back.
And does that so perfectly for Leeds Chariots. He won't be in amongst the goals that often, but you take him out the side, they're far weaker. So a fantastic point to raise. Just for some context of the day, this is quarter-final 1 on Court A, currently on Court B, Villa, Rockets, Lions versus Aspire. That's also live on the WFA's YouTube channel. If you're in situ here at the Derby Arena, please get a set of silent disco headsets and you can flick between myself and David and Charlie McClellan and Nick Woodward on Court B. So they're the first round of quarterfinals. From that, scheduled for 11:30. We may be slightly delayed as we had a few technical difficulties this morning. David and I will be calling the action from has to be the standout quarterfinal, West Bromwich Albion versus Newcastle United Foundation.
Honestly, it is. That is the game to watch. If you're going to watch any game, if you're going to only watch one game, that is the game to go and view and go and see. I mean, two really outstanding teams this season. Obviously, West Brom undefeated, first place in the league. Just continuing to hopefully make another final. I mean, they are so consistent, so good, just generally for so many seasons. I think they'll be expected to make this final. They want to make this final. Well, if you look at a team like Newcastle, in recent years, 2023 final, they did make the WFA Cup final, facing Aspire. And although they might have not won, they might have learned something. Players like Ollie Crawshaw and Ethan Fisher, so key to the lineup, so young, but then genuinely both featuring in the development home nations for England. And you're looking at
again, them passing lanes between Rigby and Maxwell, it's been absolutely brilliant, and you're probably seeing why they're in contention for that Premiership and why they have strong aspirations of going far in this cup competition. They've never reached the WFA Cup final. I think the furthest they've progressed was the semi-final stage a few years ago, the same as Nottinghamshire. They reached the semi-final in 2015 and 2016 respectively. So this is the opportunity, and following today's quarterfinals, we will conduct the semi-final draw, and the winners of which will progress to the highly anticipated FA Disability Cup weekend. As
it's got
really fortunate ricochet. We talk about Jack Britton and how crucial he was to the foundation of Leeds Chariots defence, but there, Adam Langley brilliantly capitalising on a mistake and a lapse in concentration, and out of nowhere, Nottinghamshire have levelled the tie.
Completely against the run-up play, stolen it. It's so convenient that it's Nottingham as well. Stolen it completely against the run-up play. In my opinion, undeserved. But you know what? Anything can happen in this game of football. That's why everyone loves the game of football, because anything can happen. Yeah. Oh, it's got in for Leeds. 2-on-1 though.
Yeah, well spotted. 2-on-1 for Nottinghamshire, so they'll be thankful that their equaliser still remains. But 11 minutes in, it's Nottinghamshire 1, Leeds Chariots 1, and we've got a game on our hands, David.
Really do. No one expected it to get back in the game. This is what I meant by earlier saying they need to just get that goal back. They just need to get back into the game. And you know what, they've done it, and they're on level pegging. And if they can keep this long enough, if they can keep it to extra time, and maybe even to penalties, they've got a shot. They really do. What? Sam Langley driving forward. 1-on-1 versus Jack Britton. Can he make something out of it? Can he do something? That moment of magic, that's all you need, just one moment. Into the corner, can he get a flick out?
Yeah. Down in that corner, Dan Rigby locked in an exchange. This is a really fantastic quarter-final, as it's deemed a little bit too forceful from Sam Langley there. So contact foul be awarded to Leeds Chariots.
Jack Maxwell just basically really can't. From a Nottingham's perspective, you cannot give that space to Jack Maxwell. You got let off there, but you need to shut him down. He's the top goal scorer. You can't give him space and give him opportunities to be able to convert those opportunities into goals. Jack Maxwell, back to Lewis Harris. Full spin, back to Jack Maxwell.
This really is end-to-end stuff. Leeds Chariots starting to grow in a little bit of confidence. Sam Langley unable to keep it in play. Our officials for this one, if I hadn't said it already, Mark Kerriton centering, complemented by Caroline Goldsborough and Millie Bean. Once again, a huge thank you to any and everyone here at the Derby Arena, as Lewis Harris tries to ping that ball across the box, didn't have the power and or accuracy to locate Jack Maxwell, but they're starting to get their passing going just inside the Nottinghamshire half. As you can probably see on the streams, Derby Arena is a centre of excellence for indoor cycling. So the two courts surrounded by a velodrome, as Lewis Harris fires it into the side of Sam Langley. Adam Langley reverses to receive.
Now this is where Dan Rigby's dangerous, in the corner when he's got space. That's all that Sam Langley needs to do, is just deny that space to Dan Rigby, because he will be lethal with that space.
Lewis Harris. Dan Rigby to Lewis Harris. Leighton G cuts that out. Recently introduced in place of Kieran Wade, Leighton G. Single substitute for Leeds Chariots, out of Parrish and Taylor, yet to feature. Lewis Harris. If I hadn't mentioned it already, the second quarter-final on Court B, also scheduled for 11:30, is that of Villa Rockets versus Teesside, another all-Premiership clash. Villa Rockets Lions currently on Court A, the only Championship team left in the competition.
And you know what? They are holding up well against Aspire, aren't they? 0-0, 15 minutes in. That is what Villa want to go in at half-time too.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about Nottinghamshire keeping this compact and tight and goalless for as long as possible. Villa Rockets Lions, that absolutely applies. But Aspire, that is the David versus Goliath. Aspire, 7-time champions. They've also been present in the final 5 times, so they've reached that St George's Park pinnacle on 12 occasions, as Dan Rigby fires the ball into the side of Jack Maxwell, who is indirect, so had to go via another chair. Jack Maxwell trying to angle his chair in a fashion that puts it over the line. And it looks like John Bolden has opened the scoring on court B. You can probably hear the noise here at the Derby Arena. And that's what we want you to do, is to bring that noise. Dan Rigby to Lewis Harris.
This battle between Sam Langley and Lewis Harris has been absolutely key in this game. Both going at it time and time again. I reckon whoever's going to win that midfield battle is going to decide the end course of this game.
It's so often the case, as you all know, David. You're a central player competing in the Championship. If and when you get the better of the opponent's respective central player, it gives you confidence, doesn't it, and momentum going forward. And we often see games decided by that central battle. Leeds Chariots route to the quarter-final stage. A 5-1 victory over Manchester United in round 3. Dan Rigby with a hat-trick and a single from Jack Maxwell and Jack Britton. Fantastic, comprehensive progression to the Derby Arena. Not quite as simple for Nottinghamshire, just a 1-0 victory over Middlesbrough at the end of April. Adam Langley, the single goal scorer. But Leeds Chariots building the pressure, just under 3 minutes remaining in this first half. Nottinghamshire 1, Leeds Chariots 1. It's been good, isn't it?
It's, you know what, if you were going in as Nottingham will be happy the team's going in at half time. They will be absolutely over the moon by getting a goal back, getting that result back, and they've kept Leeds at bay. They've kept them, and I think that's what they're aiming for. Just not really to score, but not to concede, and they're doing a very good job at that so far. Although they may have conceded from that one mistake, I believe that you've got themselves back into it, and if in essence you look at it, it's still a goal apiece, and it's still level.
It's so easy to reference the league standings to kind of gauge as to what team will be considered favourites in this one. Leeds Chariots second in the division, Nottinghamshire 10th, but I don't think that's a fair reflection of the football they play in Nottinghamshire. They're a long-standing team within the league and cup competitions, and they've had some player misses over the past couple of seasons, but they're starting to gel, they're starting to build that chemistry, and that partnership between Adam and Sam Langley is impressive, isn't it?
It's almost that brother relationship, that intertwined relationship, knowing each other inside out. I mean, it helps them so much, Nottingham squad, that knowing each other, where they're going to be at all times. This looks like a dangerous opportunity from Leeds.
Yeah, interesting decision by Lewis Harris to try and guide it back to Dan Rigby. It's something that you will probably be seen a fair amount across today, is the utilisation of set pieces and how they've become such an effective way for teams to open up the opposition and or score. As Lewis Harris, slight signs of frustration, just about wraps his chair around it, but out of play in the end. Final 15 seconds. Nottinghamshire 1, Leeds Chariots 1. Jack Maxwell opening the scoring before Sam Langley found that equaliser.
Oh, it's a big opportunity here.
The flag is raised by Carolyn Goldsborough, but play continues via that advantage. The flag still raised. Mark Kerrison.
It looks like someone's gone off the pitch.
Yeah, Mark Kerrison proceeds with play. Lewis Harris just behind Matt Hadfield. I suspected their utilisation of Matt Hadfield would be a very reserved approach, and it's appearing that way so far. Dan Rigby
trying to push past there, that solid wall between Matt Hadfield and Sam Langley, but is unable to do so far.
Yeah, we're into additional time now. They're going to really want to try and prevent Dan Rigby from finding success and the gap between Matthew Hadfield and Sam Langley. They're doing well so far, but never underestimate how quickly play can change, and Dan Rigby can find that gap. He's got Harris on the edge, nearly finds it. Good work from Sam Langley, just trying to break the press.
Done so very well. And
Yeah.
got the pressure off his team slightly. Get that pressure off, recuperate, regroup.
Yeah, absolutely. Half-time on court B. Spire 1-0 up against Villa Rockets Lions here on court A. We're nearly 2 minutes over the regulation 20. And it's still 1-1. As very late success via Adam Langley. Jack Britton's going to want to be a little bit more alert on this occasion. 2-on-1 in favour of Nottinghamshire.
Ooh,
so
this is a dangerous opportunity, this.
that it is. So indirect. Nottinghamshire can't go for goal directly from this free kick. So this ball from Sam Langley has to go via the chair of a teammate, or if he can play it off the back of an opponent. Sam Langley looks like he's shaping up to find Matt Hadfield, who's closely marked by Dan Rigby. Drops off just to prevent them 2-on-1 being awarded.
Oh, that's just... Really needs to make a bit more of those opportunities, big games, but you know what? They'll be the happiest two teams going into half-time.
Absolutely. Thank you once again to everyone that's tuning in. We will be back very shortly for the second half. over time, probably at least the next 3 years before it's used, with the aim of creating a sustainable resource that can offer meaningful support when it's needed most. But we are back underway. You join in myself, Ryan Sipple, and David D for the action. Give me an overview and your thoughts from the first half, David.
As I've said many times, I think Nottingham will be the happier of the two teams. The aim for Leeds is to obviously get a goal, but the aim for Nottingham, in my opinion, is to not concede, possibly get into extra time. And when it gets to penalties at that stage, if they're aiming to get to penalties, that could be their moment. That could be their way of getting to the semi-final. That could be their way of making history for themselves. Second time in the semi-final, you know. That is, if I played for Nottingham, that would be my thought process. Try and get it to penalties, because then anything can happen.
Yeah, so should this end in a draw at the conclusion of this 20-minute half, we will have 2 5-minute intervals of extra time. Again, if it's yet to be decided after that, we will have that penalty shootout. You always hope for at least one penalty shootout across a quarter-final, semi-final stage. But
always high intensity penalty shootouts, and you know, if that is, anything can happen in a penalty shootout. It can go either way. It doesn't matter how good you've been in the game, doesn't matter how bad you've been in the game. Everyone's on a fair playing field, everyone's got the same shot as everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this game particularly probably highlights better than most just how competitive our top division of Powered Chef football is. These are two teams fighting at very different ends of the table. Leeds Chariots will have title aspirations. Nottinghamshire are fighting to stave off relegation. Yet when they face off against one another, it's really competitive. And it's almost a cliche, but any team can beat any team in the Premiership. But when it comes to cup football and this competition, only 3 teams have won it in the competition's history. Did you know that, David?
That is, wow. That is, what? West Brom?
Yep.
Aspire?
Yep.
Northern Thunder?
Exactly that. And across the last 7 years, only 4 different teams have been present at that St George's Park spectacle. So if you're a Leeds, if you're a Nottinghamshire, or any of the other teams here present today, can you go on to make history just by appearing at St George's Park?
I bet my money on Teesside getting to the final this year.
So anyone that tuned into our podcast on Friday would have listened to myself and Alex Dowding cast our fairly loose predictions. Alex put his weight behind Newcastle potentially going all the way, and I said it'd be really hard to look past Teesside, but I will say with a degree of confidence, I don't think we'll see a league champion and cup champion be the same team. There's so many teams in contention that I think you'll see teams such as Newcastle put a lot of effort into today as the kind of outsiders and the dark horses for the Premiership. Leeds Chariots is not in their hands either. Whilst they're in second, all of the teams in and around them have games in advantage. So it wouldn't surprise me if Leeds Chariots let's go for the cup. But obviously the winners of the quarterfinals will progress to the semi-final draw, and anyone could draw anyone. If we see a West Brom or an Aspire should be drawn against each other should they progress, it almost opens the door for a new team to come in and have a shot at that cup competition. The final is scheduled for June 29th at St George's Park as part of the FA Disability Cup weekend. If you're wondering why we're saying it's so significant, it's a televised final. So the final is live on TNT Sports, which provides our sport and our players such an incredible, unparalleled platform. With Leighton G currently battling away with Lewis Harris, and for Leeds Chariots, Jack Britton in goal, Dan Rigby, Jack Maxwell and Lewis Harris. If you can track their nameplates and or numbers, they play such a fluid system, it's almost a challenge for me to tell you where they are or where we expect them to be on the court. And that's something that we've seen them utilise so effectively this season, is that fluidity and that tactical flexibility, I'd probably say.
I agree, it's so important to be flexible in your playing. Well, Jack Maxwell's got a really good opportunity here to try and squeeze it past Matt Hadfield and Sam Langley. Can't unfortunately capitalise on it, and it just looks like Sam Langley's just trying to relieve the pressure, trying to relieve that insecurity really of conceding. And
you've seen them be so brave in their commitment of putting 3 players forward that you could suspect Nottinghamshire could break away if they can intercept one of these passes. See, even on an occasion like that, had Leighton G just been angled a little bit more to the right, and just for the new viewers, the hazard tape, as you can see on the edge of the box, designates the goalkeeper area, and we have a rule in power chair football, 3 in the box. So defending teams are only permitted 2 players in the goal area at any one time. So that includes a goalkeeper. So you'll see the player typically on the edge, and on that occasion it was Leighton G. Any encroachment into that area would result in a 2-on-1 free kick being awarded to Leeds Chariots. Still nothing to separate these two. A really cagey, closely contested quarter-final, as we hoped it would be. I believe it's still 1-0 on court B between Villa, Rockets, Lions and Aspire.
Pounce on the opportunity if he gets one.
Yeah, This time, Adam Langley, the most defensive of the 4 Nottinghamshire players, as Lewis Harris drives from left to right, right to left, trying to find that gap. But the experience of Nottinghamshire, too great on that occasion. But they're absorbing a lot of attacking pressure. Dan Rigby, one of the best distributors in the country. Sam Langley just tries to get in front of Jack Maxwell, fires it down the court, which will relieve a little bit of pressure on his defence. This is when I want to see them potentially adopt a high press, look to intercept the goal kick.
From my perspective, I feel like they need to use Matt Hadfield a bit more, utilise a bit more options. He's a skilled outfield player, and you know, if they can utilise him in a good way, get him moving, get the passing going, then they could really try and pen back Leeds in their own half.
So substitute for Nottinghamshire and Leeds Chariots for that matter. A reverse of the earlier change for for Nottinghamshire. Kieran Wade on in place of Leighton G. And for Chariot, it looks like Jack Britton is being relieved of that goalkeeper jersey, which will be put on the number 44, Harrison Taylor, who's going to feature for the first time today. Minutes to go. Can one of these two find an opening? It's been so cagey, so closely contested. Leeds Chariots with the more attacking pressure, but nothing that's really troubled the defence of Nottinghamshire.
Can they break here?
Yeah, really nice interception.
Kieran Wade, oh, slightly off pass. Would have been such a good ball to Adam Langley, but unfortunately did not succumb to anything.
That's what they're going to do. I said about them with Leeds Chariots committing players forward. They're going to probably have success on the counter-attack or on the break. Kieran Wade with a nice weighted pass, but not enough to find Adam Langley. It would have been the perfect time and opportunity to test Harrison Taylor, who's just been brought into the action. And now, from one end to the other, Jack Maxwell, I think there was sometimes there's a tendency to overplay things, and on that occasion, I probably would have liked to seen Jack Maxwell go for goal. The option of Dan Rigby wasn't necessarily there, and a fizzed effort, diagonally splitting through the Nottinghamshire half, out for a goal kick.
So far, you've not really seen Leeds get that passing movement going so far, not really getting that bit of just their movement in the way that they can split teams open, break them apart. They've not really got that going against Nottingham. I feel they need to reduce that dribbling and increase that almost fluidity and attacking movement.
Agreed. You can see representatives from West Bromwich Albion and Teesside closely watching this one on the side of the court. And there it is, Lewis Harris. Out of nowhere, Dan Rigby once again providing the assist. And it just shows when you have that quality, how quickly things can change.
We talked about that almost link between those two, how the partnership goes beyond the football pitch, goes beyond almost that. It's almost not telepathic, I would say, but almost they know where each other's going to be at all times. And you know what, that relationship can really prove vital on the pitch, change moments in a game, and it really has proven. They've not been in control so far, but you know what, they've definitely, I think they've deserved it.
It's cup football, isn't it, David? The ultimate objective is to ensure that you come out of it with a win. And irrelevant of how good it looks on the eye, they've done well to force the opening or to retake the 1-goal advantage, and now we're going to have to see Nottinghamshire go for this, which in turn will probably leave vulnerabilities in behind. But Nottinghamshire have just under 7 minutes to find that equaliser if they are to continue in this prestigious competition.
Dan Rigby in the corner. Can he make something with that rock of a defence against Sam Langley? Can Sam Langley get past Dan Rigby?
Yeah, Dan Rigby looking to just lock it up in that top corner. Time is on his side. The advantage is on his side. So we're going to see some game management come into play now. Well played by Sam Langley. Just bypass Dan Rigby, but Lewis Harris there to cut up the passing lane between the Langley brothers. Lewis Harris just trying to force it into the box. The semi-final stage.
Adam Langley again trying to get past Dan Rigby. Can he? He needs to get past him. 5 minutes remaining. He really needs to get that ball out the pitch. Try and just do something, do anything to keep his side in the cup. Unfortunately, a dangerous position has been given away to Leeds here. Can they capitalise on it? Can they finish the game? Can they put the game to bed? Dan Rigby to take.
Yeah, really good opportunity. This would surely ensure that their progression through to the semi-final. Ricochets off the right-hand post. Mark Kerrison with the whistle in his mouth is going to award a 2-on-1 in the favour of Nottinghamshire. The ball ricochets high between the chairs of Kieran Wade and Dan Rigby. Worth noting, Kieran Wade used to compete for Leeds Chariots, so he's probably very familiar with these players and their setup. As of yet, unable to influence the fixture in their favour. You're seeing that brave approach, as I suspected, from Nottinghamshire, which is leaving these big, large gaps in behind.
My motto is, if you're losing by 1, you may as well lose by 3. In the cup competition, you have to...
Absolutely. Goal difference means nothing in this competition, whereas in the league, we could see that play a significant factor. This is a knockout competition. Hadfield.
To Langley. Battling with Lewis Harris. 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Can Nottingham produce a moment of magic? All they need is that one moment. Depends if that moment comes along, though.
Yeah, late substitute for Nottinghamshire. Once again, a reverse of the earlier change. Oh no, it's not. Adam Langley's the player to depart. A round of applause from spectators in the bleacher seats.
Really solid performance from Adam Langley.
A great player.
Consistent all the time. Never has a poor performance, and is part of the heartbeat in this squad.
I mean, there's still 2 minutes to play, but if Nottinghamshire are unsuccessful and do bow out of the competition at this stage, I think all of their focus then goes on to game week 5 of the 24-25 Optegra Premiership, where they're going to want to secure points in pursuit of Premiership safety. They're in and amongst a very closely contested battle towards the bottom. So if there is a silver lining, not having conflicts as to where to put your attention, energy, efforts. But it's been a brilliant show. I suspect it to be far more one-sided than what we've seen, and they should be very proud with their performance.
I completely agree. And unfortunately, when you go into attack like that, when you're pushing men forward, that's what's going to happen. You can't prevent it. You know what? Pick your heads up. You've got to the quarterfinals of the WFA Cup. Pat yourself on the shoulder and, you know, say well done to yourself, really.
Absolutely. So that's the capping off goal for Leeds Chariots. I think it was direct from the corner kick from Dan Rigby. Whether or not it got a touch.
Yeah, I think it got a slight deflection.
Slight deflection potentially off one of the players within the box. Either way, Nottinghamshire 1, Leeds Chariots 3, final 30 seconds. Professional performance from Leeds Chariots, wouldn't you say? Beyond that chance and that equaliser for Nottinghamshire, nothing has really troubled the most defensive of their 4 players. It was Jack Britton in the first half. It's Harrison Taylor in the second, who I don't believe has even had a touch beyond maybe a goal kick.
I completely agree. I just think they've had such a cool and collected performance. They've never really shown any sign of fatigue or any sign of just that move.
And you have to manage that energy when you've got a day such as today, where there's intense match-up after intense match-up. You need to manage the energy and not commit too much too early on. But they've done that really well, really effectively in this one, and they will be confident going into the semi-finals. It looks as if Aspire will book their spot there as well. So of quarter-finals 1 and 2, Aspire and Leeds Chariots will progress to the semi-final draw. And as mentioned earlier, surrounding Court A is representatives from Teesside and West Brom, both of which will want to get the job done in their respective quarter-finals. Teesside play Villa Rocket, West Bromwich Albion play Newcastle United Foundation, the winners of which will join Leeds and Aspire. And from there, only 2 can progress to the 24-25 John Good Group WFA Cup final at St George's Park.
And that is full time in the game between Leeds Chariots and Nottingham. Very well, good performance from Leeds, very calm, professional, as you said. And for me, I think the man of the match for me would probably be Lewis Harris, constantly communicating with his teammates, calm, just generally not tranquil, but just relaxed and, you know,
players feel that, don't they? That degree of comfort and relaxation, and then they feed off that. You've obviously spotlighted Lewis Harris. I would be amiss not to talk about Dan Rigby. We previewed it in the lead up to the game and how his creativity and the assists he's provided in 24-25 Premiership specifically has been so fundamental to the success we're seeing. And 3 assists to his name, sorry, because that late corner kick just shows how good he's been this season and how the attacking players, most notably Jack Maxwell and Lewis Harris, are absolutely thriving off that service. So he's the one I would probably give player of the match. But overall, a brilliant performance from Leeds Chariots. They progressed to the semi-final. Thank you to everyone that's tuning in, whether that's here in the Derby Arena, listening over the wireless headsets, or tuning in on YouTube. David and I will be back very shortly for quarter-final 3, scheduled for kick-off in about 15 minutes' time, maybe slightly after that. And that will be contested between West Bromwich Albion and Newcastle United Foundation. See you all then.